Next, let's talk about the student loan tax bomb. So, as a reminder, after December 31st, 2025, and moving forward, if you have your student loans forgiven under income driven repayment plan forgiveness, you're going to be in a potential scenario where your loans are going to be treated as income in the year of forgiveness at the federal and potentially the state level. So, as an example, if you have $100,000 income, but you have $200,000 worth of loans forgiven in the year 2026, when you file your taxes for that year, it's going to make it look like you earned $300,000 worth of income. This is the way that it actually worked when I started in this industry. People call it the student loan tax bomb, where you have to have an idea of your projected and potential student loan forgiveness so you can plan for what would occur when you owe those taxes that are not being set aside from your paycheck. Now, one of the ways that people handled this in the past is they would talk about the difference between qualified and non-qualified investments. So for example, if you have a qualified retirement plan that was pre-tax, meaning you put dollars into it that had not been taxed from an income perspective, you would pay taxes on those dollars as you earned it when you took it out. So for example, if you took $50,000 out of the account, it would look like you earned $50,000 in income on your tax return. And since you don't want that, you don't want to take money out that shows taxable income in order to pay off forgiven loans that were treated as taxable income, people would focus on non-qualified investments, things like a brokerage account. And in that brokerage account, they would have a projection for not only how much would be forgiven, but how much potential tax that would generate based on their income. And they would have a target in mind where they'd be saying, hey, I got 5 years before my student loans are forgiven. Right now, I'm projecting that's going to lead to an additional $30,000 in taxes. I'm going to try my best to save as much as I can to generate that $30,000 in a savings account or a brokerage account so that when that forgiveness occurs on my tax return, I have the money to pay it. We are now back in that mode where you have to at least be aware, because at least up until this period where the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act had this reprieve until 2026, any time that your student loans were forgiven was great and you could go on about your business without having to worry about anything else. Whereas now, depending on how it was forgiven and how much was forgiven, you might be looking and saying, I traded one problem for another, because yes, my student loans were forgiven, but now I'm looking down the barrel of a $50,000 tax bill that I have to figure out a way to pay. So we're going to talk about this more in future episodes and down the line, but just be aware that this is something that you haven't had to pay attention to in past years that is now back on your list of things that you need to be keeping track of for your federal student loans.